everyone, happy Sunday and welcome back to Clues by Sam. We have another hard one today, and I've seen mixed feelings about this one. People who have taken like 40 minutes to solve, and people who did solve it hard, solve it quick in 20 minutes. So let's see where I fit in this graph. If you're new here, this is not the first one you should play. You can scroll down the page. If you go to the daily page here, you scroll down here and you can find all of the puzzles from the week. And usually Monday and Tuesday are easy ones. So you can start from those and work your way up in difficulty. So I do recommend that if you want to do that. And if you want to follow along with me as I play, I'm going to be explaining the solve as I do. And there's 20 people here. Each of them is a criminal or an innocent. And we got to figure out what they are using clues. So nobody lies. Pure logic, no guessing. Let's see how this goes. Start with Carl telling us that Uma is one of two criminals to the left of Zoe. So criminal. There's another two people to the left of Zoe, and among those two people, there has to be one more criminal. So that means they are opposites, and we tag them as the same color to indicate that. We don't need Carl's clue anymore now. Uma says that Ivan is one of the three criminals in row 2. So Ivan is a criminal. There's another 3 people in row 2. So that means that 2 more of them have to be criminals as well. Ivan says there are no innocents in column A who neighbor Alex. Column A. So here, there's only one person in column A that neighbors Alex because Alex is also in column A and he's the first one in that column. So Gabe here, who is the only neighbor, is not an innocent. Now we know that Clay and Logan are opposites as well, just like Wanda and Xavier, because only one more criminal here in row 2, so we don't need Uma's clue. We also don't need Ivan's. Gabe says there's an equal number of innocents in rows 2 and 5. So we know there's only one innocent in row 2, which means there's only one innocent in row 5, and it's gonna be somebody here in this pair of opposites, so Zoe has to be. I'm never sure that pair of opposites is the right term for it, because I think when I'm saying a pair of opposites, it feels like it's two opposite pairs. No, that doesn't make sense. You know what I mean? Like, isn't a pair 2? I think it's right. I'm making it harder than it needs to be. We don't need Gabe's clue anymore, but Zoe now says that 2 painters have a criminal directly below them. So we have 3 painters, all of them are up here on the right. Carl, Derek, and Logan. And 2 of them, all of them have people below them. So if 2 of them have to have criminals below them. Oh, but the thing is, below Carl and Derek is a pair of opposites. So either Clay or Logan is gonna be an innocent. So we only have one painter here in row 1 that has a criminal below them, which means the other painter that has a criminal below them has to be Logan. Ooh, almost made Logan a criminal there by accident. Don't do that. Paula, who became a criminal, now says that an odd number of innocents on the edges neighbors Stella. So Stella has 5 people on the edges neighboring her. 2 of them are already criminals, Paula and Zoe. She has one pair of opposites here, Wanda and Xavier. Among them is going to be one innocent. That's an odd number. And she only has one more person who could be an innocent, Tina. But if Tina becomes an innocent, then Stella ends up with an even number of innocents neighboring her on the edges. So Tina has to actually be a criminal too. And she says that Paula has exactly 4 criminal neighbors. Where's Paula? Paula has 5 neighbors. And 4 of those are going to be criminals, which means only one innocent. And we know that innocent is going to be here in row 2 because the pair, Clay and Logan, who has one innocent in it, neighbor Paula. Neighbors, the pair, neighbors Paula. So that makes Ollie a criminal and Stella as well. Ollie now says that exactly 2 criminals in row 4 have a criminal directly below them. So we're talking about row 4 here. It's interesting because so far in row 4, only Tina is a criminal who has a criminal below her. Let's say that Stella has an innocent below her and Xavier here is an innocent. Then we would need either Rose or Kita to be a criminal. But if Stella has a criminal below her, we would need both Kita and Rose to be innocent. So we don't end up. Actually, it doesn't matter what Rose is because there's going to be an innocent below her if Xavier is a criminal. So we don't know, actually. We leave that clue there and look at Stella's. There are more criminal cooks than criminal teachers. So where are all the cooks and teachers? All of them here. 3 teachers, Martin, Kita, and Uma, all in column A, and 3 cooks, all in column B, Nancy, Rose, and Wanda, all side by side. And there are more criminal cooks than criminal teachers. How does that go? We gotta think about row 4, I think. Because let's say that Rose and Wanda both are criminals. That would force Kita to be an innocent, right? Because we couldn't have a second criminal with a criminal below, or a third criminal with a criminal below them in row 4. That makes 2 criminal cooks. And that's good because there has to be more criminal cooks than teachers. But if the opposite happens, if we make Kita a criminal, then all 3 cooks have to be criminals because we have 2 criminal teachers. And more than 2 is 3, which is the total number of cooks that we have. Now we have a third pair of criminals in row 4 and row 5 here. So that doesn't actually work. Kita has to be an innocent. And she says that Clay has exactly 2 innocent neighbors. So where's Clay? Clay has 1 innocent neighbor now. So am I not done with the teacher cook thing? Because I know that, yeah, I'm not done. Because let's say I make Xavier a criminal here. Then that's our second pair of criminal and innocent in row 4 and 5. But the thing is, Wanda becomes an innocent because of Xavier. And in that case, both Rose and Nancy would have to be criminals, so we have more criminal cooks than we currently have teachers. And Martin would have to be an innocent, so we can keep that ratio. But what if Xavier is an innocent? What happens then? Then we have to force Rose to be a criminal. Mm. But that doesn't do. I mean, Rose has to be a criminal in any case, right? Because if Rose is ever an innocent, then that forces Xavier to be a criminal and Wanda to be an innocent. And now there's no way for us to have more criminal cooks than teachers. And Xavier is forced to be a criminal, so we can have our pair of criminals in row 4 and row 5. So Rose has to always be a criminal. That's one thing we learned. And she gives us a new clue. Each column has at least 3 criminals. So we're talking about columns here. What column doesn't have a third criminal? I mean, column A doesn't. Column B doesn't. And column C. If Clay only has 2 innocent neighbors, if I make Nancy innocent, then we know, yeah, that doesn't work. Because Nancy being an innocent forces Logan to be a criminal because Clay can only have 2 innocents. Logan being a criminal forces Clay to be an innocent. Which forces? Because column C needs a third criminal. Clay being an innocent forces AV to be a criminal. And now there's no way for us to have more criminal cooks and teachers. So Nancy couldn't be an innocent. Hope that was understandable. And she gives us a new clue. Only one person in row 2 has exactly 2 innocent neighbors. Row 2. That's Clay, right? So that means that Logan couldn't have 2 innocent neighbors. And if trying to make sense of how that affects Logan, but I think it's not Logan that I have to look at. Only one person in row 2 has exactly 2 innocent neighbors. Okay. Column A still needs a third criminal, right? But it could have 2 more. Both Alex and Martin could be criminals. There will be no issue with that. If I made Derek innocent, Logan becomes a criminal and he ends up with more than 2, which is perfectly fine. If I make Betsy an innocent, though, that doesn't work because now Logan has 2 innocent neighbors just like Clay. So Betsy actually has to be a criminal. Good. She says now that Rose has exactly 6 criminal neighbors. Where's Rose? Well, Rose is gonna have 2 innocent neighbors then because she has 8 neighbors total. And we already know about her 2 innocents. There's Kita, and there's either Wanda or Xavier, so that's 2. That makes Martin a criminal, which forces Wanda to become a criminal as well, so we have more criminal cooks and teachers, and that makes Xavier an innocent. Xavier being an innocent forces Clay to be a criminal, so that column C has 3 criminals. Clay being a criminal makes Logan an innocent, which is Clay's last innocent neighbor, so Derek becomes a criminal as well. What about Alex, though? We couldn't have Ivan in row 2 have a second innocent neighbor, so we need Alex to be a criminal. Done the puzzle. How long was that? That felt really short. Good. Really good. I like it. I feel like I'm back to my A game. Jinxed! Hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'll be live streaming again today, later on. Continuing with Ribbon. I've been having a time. I've been having a time with that game. Definitely one of the games that I've played in my life. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day and a good start of the week. See you tomorrow for Marcos by Sam. Bye bye.